All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today for UFC 302, I'm going to be breaking down the card with my guy, Dravi. Dravi, what's good, brother? Thanks for coming on to the show for episode 99. How you feeling about this card?
Hey, thanks for having me, bro. It's always a pleasure. I think it's a low-key banger. Like, we have some fights that flying under the radar for this one. Like the first one we're going to talk about right there on the screen. I think we have some sleeper, and sometimes when we don't have like the best card on paper, that's where we're getting impressed when we watch it. Sometimes like when we have like big names and everything, we end up being a little bit disappointed because we have such good hype on it. But this one, I feel like, I think it's gonna be a good one, bro. What about you?
I'm with you. I like this card quite a bit. There's a few fights that it's like whatever, but there's most of them I'm excited for. And I agree. I think that it's a pretty good betting slate. At first, when I looked at the odds when they all came out, I was like, this is disgusting. But slowly but surely, I've been adding, and now I've got a pretty fat slate. So let's see what happens. And yeah, guys, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a minute. I've been gone for about 3 weeks now. We haven't done content, so it's good to be back. It's good to be doing the show. Next week, we're going to be doing the 100th episode of the podcast, so I'm working on putting together a good cast of characters to come on. Should be a good time. Let's catch up with the chat and then jump right in. We got Daz, as always. Thanks for tuning in, my brother, Aussie fight fan. We got Luca from Georgia. What's up, Luca? Hope you're doing good. MMA clips in here. All on Andre Lima. We'll talk about that one in a second. CT, my guy, always coming in. Thanks for tuning in, guys. All right, so first fight up, we've got Andre Lima versus Mitch Raposo. Lima, he's going to be undefeated at 8-0, 25 years old, 5'7" with a 67.5-inch reach. On the other side, Raposo, 9-1-0. He's also 25, going to be 2 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Why don't you start us off, Dravi?
Yeah, that's one of the fight I'm excited about. I'm very high on Lima as a fighter. I think he's pretty good, like very good kickboxer. He has opportunistic BJJ, like some good guillotine. He doesn't have the best takedown defense, but I like his get-up game pretty good. Nice scrambles. And one part about his game that is underrated, we see a little bit in his last fight, but I feel like as his career goes on, we're going to see him as a guy with an elite chin. He already hit some elbows last time out. That was crazy. He didn't even wobble. So I think he has an elite chin. He's a very good striker, good power. But so I was looking into this spot to play Lima in a parlay when he was around minus 180 or so. I ended up just passing at first because I was kind of impressed with Raposo. I think he's pretty good. The only thing that is kind of hard to say is he fought very low-level competition on the regional. But he did what he needed to do against these guys. He beat them up pretty bad. Sometimes these fights go a little bit later on, but he's still finishing and dominate in every fight that I've watched. He has a wrestling background. He doesn't have good top control, though. I don't really like that, but he's good at mixing some takedowns, which could be good here because, like I said, doesn't have the best takedown defense. But Raposo's not going to control him on the ground. He just got his BJJ black belt. Maybe he's going to try to show that a little bit. I run back the Adley fight, too. I think he looked pretty decent in that fight. I think he was only 21 years old. So now he's 25. I think he's improving. If you look on his Instagram, he's training with a lot of good people, UFC PI at Action Couture. He's taking it seriously. And I'm kind of impressed, Couch, with his striking. Like, he's pretty fast, and I love his footwork, his movement. Even if he loses this fight, I'm pretty sure that he's going to have a good career in the UFC, Raposo. He's young, he's good. His grappling defense can be a little bit suspect because of the Ailin fight. But yeah, he just got his BJJ black belt. Lima Morono is a kickboxer, but I like this fight to go over. I play when it was plus money. Now it's minus 155. I don't like it that much, but I like this dude. But both these guys have good cardio. They're durable, so I think we're gonna see a decision here. Lima probably take it, but at minus 240 or whatever it is now, I wouldn't play him. I think Raposo's the side. it's probably going to be a 29-28 decision here. So values on the underdog for me. But as far as the pick goes, I'm going to pick Lima to win a decision.
What did you put the over at? Plus 125?
Let me just check. But yeah, I think it was plus 125.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, plus 125 for 2 units.
Yeah, I don't hate that. It's kind of hard to see, like, if anything, it probably comes from the Lima side, maybe like a sub. I'll talk about that in a sec, but
I agree.
I feel like it probably does go over. But real quick, Luca, this is just Tapology. This is like on the when you enter the picks. This is the page they give you. It's good for the show. Lima sub could be sneaky. Definitely a possibility. He's like you mentioned, Lima takedown defense is pretty weak the way I see it. I don't think it's very good. I don't think Severino is a great grappler. He's a good biter, but he's not the best wrestler in the world, and he was able to get the takedowns, but he wasn't able to hold Lima down. And the stuff I'm looking for always is I'm looking for hand control. I'm looking for underhooks. I'm looking for what they're doing when they're defending takedowns and they're getting back up. And Lima, when he hits the ground, immediately looking for the hands, looking to scramble, looking to get back up, doesn't just sit there. In the other fight where he was kind of getting out grappled in the Igor Tylon fight back in LFA, similar situation. He got taken down, held down a little longer in that one, but he was able to get back up. He's improving still. He's also only 25. His striking, I think, is good. It's clean. I think he's the better striker here, but I honestly don't think it's by all that much. I think Raposo has actually improved a lot in his striking. When he came onto the Ultimate Fighter, this is like, what, 3 years ago now? I remember everybody was so hype on him. A lot of people thought he'd win that season. And then my guy Ludwig, who ended up being not so good, ended up beating him. And I think since then he's gotten a lot better. Against Hadley, I remember I faded him. But there I just felt like Hadley would be too much in terms of the grappling. And I don't see that same threat from Lima. I do think the sub look is a bit sneaky, even though people seem to be on it. It opened at plus 800 on Bet Online. Now it's plus 500. I can see how it could possibly happen. It would have to be a scramble. And the thing is, you're kind of depending on Raposo then, because you need Raposo to bring it to the ground. Because is Lima going to take him down? I highly doubt that. I do think Raposo will bring it there, so Lima will have his opportunities, but he's going to have to scramble on top. I don't really think he's going to get a guillotine or something from bottom, so I think he's going to have to reverse position. And I don't know if that's going to be easy. I think Raposo is pretty good in the grappling. I think his control is improving along with his jiu-jitsu. I think the striking, like I mentioned, has come a long way. So at plus 205, I think the line's entirely too wide. And the only thing I can kind of say, which, you know, would like make sense to inflate the line a bit, is it's short notice. And Lima has been preparing, whereas Raposo not so much. But honestly, I think Raposo should be all right. I don't think his cardio is that bad. It kind of looked rough in the Hadley fight. But again, that was a grappling heavy fight where he was facing resistance in the grappling from, in my opinion, a better grappler than Lima. So I don't know if he's going to gas out here. Lima's not exactly a volume machine. He's not exactly a pressure machine. He's not really coming out here and breaking guys. I mean, he broke Severino to the point where Severino felt like he needed to get a good bite in. But I think in general, he's not really breaking people down with his output or his pace or his pressure. So I think Raposo should be okay. And I am going to get to a Raposo play more than likely. At this point, I'm just waiting to see what happens with the line. Hopefully people keep parlaying Lima or doing whatever they're doing, and I can get even a better number, but we'll see. I do like plus 200. Lima seems to like that omoplata position, the same position Hadley was using on Raposo. Yeah, but again, I think Hadley's jiu-jitsu is a lot better than Lima's. That's just my personal opinion. But let's see what happens. Moving on, though, we've got Ailin Perez versus Joselyne Edwards. Edwards 13-5-0. She's going to be 28 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. She is training out of Extreme Couture now, I'm pretty sure. Perez 9-2-0. She's 29, so she's going to be 1 year older, 3 inches shorter, and she's going to be at a 4-inch reach disadvantage. I'll start us off for this one. I mean, I think Perez wins. I think it's a pretty clear path here, the grappling. And I mean, everyone's talking about it. Everyone's saying it. Edwards, bad takedown defense. I do think it has improved, and I think training somewhere like Extreme Couture is a good camp for that. But at the same time, on the ground, when she's there, I don't think she's very good at all. Even when she's on top position, when she took down Nora Cornell, she held that head and arm for way too long and ended up getting her back taken, which happens always in that position if you're not careful. When she's taken down, she's got not much to offer. She got completely mounted by Pudilova in a similar position to something that Perez does in a lot of her fights, where she's able to get that full mount and let it rip with the ground and pound. So I do think Perez should have a lot of success. I think the ground and pound will be there. I think she'll probably take her down in the first round, beat the crap out of her, and I think she gets her out of there in the second or third round. All that said, I still have a hard time getting to minus 180 because, first off, Perez's striking is horrible. It's horrific. She doesn't have a process. She doesn't do anything well in the striking, really. She's got some pop to her punch, but she strikes in these sloppy little flurries, looks for big shots. She's not that good on the feet, and she's super hittable. And on top of that, the cardio is pretty questionable, to say the least. I mean, against Pudilova, she was completely dominant for 2 rounds. It's not like she faced a ton of resistance, and she still gassed really hard in the third round. She's gassed before that. She slowed down even in the fight where she was dominating. Ashley Evans-Smith slowed down against Egger. We've seen her slow down time and time again. And Edwards isn't a slouch. She's a pretty good striker. Like I think she's definitely the better striker. Her output normally is really good. I don't know what happened in that Nora fight. My assumption is she felt that Nora was better than her, so she decided to grapple instead. Grappling won't be an option here, I don't think. Maybe she can land a takedown. Perez doesn't have elite takedown defense or anything like that, but I don't think it's super likely. I think if she has success, it's going to be on the feet, keeping it standing, letting it rip with the output, and maybe once Perez is tired, really winning that third round, maybe finding a finish. What I decided to do is I just put a half unit on the fight doesn't go the distance at plus 250. I think that's a pretty good line. I know that most of the finishing upside comes from Perez, and her ITD was like plus 385. But then I thought about it to myself, and it's like plus 250, plus 385. Do I really care that much not to just take the safer route? And I decided to take the safer route because would I be completely shocked if Perez gassed and Edwards got a late finish? I wouldn't be that shocked because I think the cardio is pretty bad. So I'm on Perez in terms of a pick. I'm on the fight doesn't go the distance. And if the line really comes in on Edwards, maybe I'd be interested on Perez. But right now I'm not. How about you?
Yeah, there's 2 fights we're going to talk about, and that's one of them that I kind of think it's a shit show. And the sense that I'm not too sure what I want to do. One part of me want to bet the underdog when she was around plus 190, plus 200. I think she was clearly the side. But now at these odds, I'm just very happy to pass. I don't mind your fight doesn't go, though, because I see the vision for sure. Edwards, better striker. She's bigger, better cardio, training at a good gym. Perez has wrestling upside, obviously. I don't think Edwards' takedown defense is that bad, but I think her get-up game is awful. Her game off her back is not great, and Perez is going to land takedowns. I'm pretty sure about that. So I kind of feel like it's going to be close, but yeah, Edwards going to be is going to do the better work on the feet. Perez going to mix the takedowns. I don't really like her finishing ability when the fight hit the mat. I don't think her ground and pound is that good. Or she doesn't know how to put her hooks in, so she doesn't really do some subs. I don't think she's gonna get a lot of finishes at the UFC level. I'll say that. But yeah, I think Edwards, she's probably gonna be looking very good in round 3. I feel like she's gonna lose the first 2 and kind of look good and dominate a little bit in round 3, a little bit like Perez last fight. Perez, I feel like she's a girl that doesn't like adversity, to be honest. When the things are going well, she's looking good, like against Evan Smith, but when things are getting tough, like she doesn't really like it. So let's just say she win the first round, and then in the second round, Edwards start to stop her takedowns. Maybe she's gonna just piece her up on the feet because she's a way better striker and she has a way better gas tank, and she's big for the division too. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think you can lay the chalk on Perez here. It's dog or pass, but the plus money is not good enough for me to want to get involved. Like Edwards never separates. She's always in close fights. Even when she win, she lost a robbery. I think that was her last fight, but she won a robbery the fight before. So she's always in close fight, never separate. I don't know why she does that because I think she's pretty good on the feet. So yeah, it's just a weird fight to me in general. I think Edwards is a side though, like I said, but I'm not confident. But maybe Edwards round 3 can be interesting. It's plus 2,000, because we both agree on round 3 is going to be sketchy for Perez. So yeah, that's a big number for Edwards round 3 at plus 2,000. I'm not sure yet, but I'm probably not gonna touch anything here.
Yeah, normally around 3 at plus 2,000 would get me real interested, but I don't know.
It's hard to.
Yeah, it's tough to back Edwards to get a finish. I already kind of did with my fight doesn't go, so
Oh
Probably
yeah, for
gonna
sure.
stick with that. But moving on, we've got apparently a rematch from the grappling scene. We got Mickey Gall versus Bassil Hafez. Gall 7-5-0. He's 32 years old, 6'2" with a 74-inch reach. Hafez 8-4-1. He's 32 years old as well. Going to be 5'11", so he is 3 inches shorter, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach disadvantage. Why don't you start us off, Travi?
Yeah, I saw a lot of money came in on the KO prop for Hafez. I agree with it. I think it's deserved. With Mickey Gall, you don't really know what you're gonna get. 2 years layoff, a lot of surgery. Is he taking it seriously? We don't really know. Just got signed back in the UFC. Some weird stuff. In general, his wins aren't very bad. Like the wins that he has are kind of garbage. But he is a decent grappler. He has some pop on his shot on the feet. He's training at a good camp, but overall, I don't think he's that good. And Hafez, I tried to bet. I mean, I didn't try. I bet him against GDM. He was plus 450. UFC debut, short notice. And now I feel like he's gonna be look. I think he's gonna look way better in that fight that he did against GDM. But I feel like the line kind of like we're kind of overrating a fighter in his loss a little bit, which is questionable. But that's a big step down in competition for him. He has the power to knock out Gall on the feet, but then on the ground, they're both good grapplers. So I think this fight could be a little bit tricky if it play out on the mat. But on the feet, Hafez, I like his power. He has a very good chin as well. He's more durable, more power. He's been more active recently, and he's training at a good camp with Gagey at Elevation. So yeah, I think now with a full camp, he's gonna come in prepare and he's probably gonna get a finish here. But yeah, I don't like the prices for anything. To be honest, Couch, like I don't really see how you can be that confident on anything. Maybe like I said, Hafez ITD or Hafez KO, but to me, it's really a fight I don't want to get involved in personally. I don't know if you feel stronger than me, but Hafez should win. But yeah, it's just a tricky fight.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I almost parlayed Hafez. I'm trying to remember what the price was. We're on what, May 28th? It was a few days ago, so probably like minus 275 ish. I think I was considering parlaying him, and one of the people I considered parlaying him with was Perez, and I was just thinking about it to myself, and it's like, do I want to parlay two people who have slowed down in multiple fights? Like, do I really want to do that to myself? And I decided no, I didn't want to do that to myself, and definitely not doing it at minus 350. I mean, look, compared to JDM, this is an easy matchup. But with Gall, there's a few things like we don't know what's been going on the last few years that he's been out. I mean, that's a big red flag, first of all. That could be a really bad thing for him. He's been out for a minute, already not really the best fighter in the world, not really super young anymore. At this point, he's 32 years old. But he is training at not Extreme Couture, I'm sorry. He's training at Kill Cliff FC now. Really good camp, one of my favorite ones in the space. And, he had some moments against Mike Mallet. He looked like he was doing pretty good on the feet against Mallet. I know that's maybe not the best, like, most impressive thing ever. Mallet he's all right. Bit of a busted prospect right now. My guy Neil Magny with the generational wealth round 3 finish. But I feel like Gall's not that bad. I actually think his striking has gotten to the point where it's okay, it's serviceable. His offensive wrestling's okay. Takedown defense is still pretty weak. He had his moments, but overall, I still don't think he's quite high level. But the thing with Hafez is his striking is pretty good. He's probably the better striker, but I'm not convinced about that, And at minus 350, if I'm going to play him at that kind of chalk, I need to be convinced. And I'm not convinced that he's really that much of a better striker. I think he's got way more power, way more finishing upside. But to me, he doesn't seem like the best striker. He's a little bit slow. The 1-2s are good, but he throws a lot of wide strikes. He's got a good jab, and he is southpaw, so that'll mix things up. But I'm not sold on his striking. His wrestling's real good too, but sometimes he'll shoot in with not much setup. A lot of times against JDM, we saw he was on his knees when he was shooting. He only really got a lot of those takedowns because JDM decided it was a great idea to beat Dustin Poirier and go for those guillotines. Didn't work out for him. Got to watch some more Cody Brundage footage. But I do think the takedowns will be there for Hafez. I do think he should be able to control Gall. Gall, he has good jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't really use it to scramble. He's not really this elite scrambler where you take him to the ground and he's already moving. I do think once Hafez gets it down, Gall's going to have a hard time getting back up. I don't really think Gall is going to score a front choke or anything like that. No guillotines. And then how does Gall win? I could see maybe a decision where Hafez really slows down, because we've seen him slow down. I know against JDM, he was on super short notice, but that wasn't the only fight that's happened. And I mean, he slowed down in the Anthony Ivy fight of all people. You know, that wasn't a very good look, where he was losing that third round. He got his back taken by Anthony Ivy. Not a great look. So I do think Hafez wins. I think the KO prop isn't bad. I'm going to wait and see what the domestics offer for it. If I can get like plus 400, maybe that's worth a quarter unit shot, because he does have more subs than KOs, does Hafez, I'm pretty sure. But I don't really know if he's going to sub Gall. I think a KO is a bit more likely. So that's what I'm looking at. But I'm not going to get to that minus 350.
He has 1 KO.
Who, Hafez?
Yeah.
Word, yeah. And I think he has like 4 subs, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Word. All right, yeah. So I'm on Hafez too as the pick, but I don't think I'm going to get there. My guy Dogfather in here, Gall elite back taker, especially if Hafez gets tired. He's probably sarcastic, but I really don't know with Dog half the time. Half the time he's serious, half the time he's joking, so I can't tell. But all right, moving on. We've got Niko Price versus Alex Morono, a rematch. Niko Price, 15-7-0. He's 34 years old, 6 feet tall with a 76-inch reach. Morono on the other side, he's 33. He's going to be 5'11", so he's 1 inch shorter, and he's going to be at a 4-inch reach disadvantage. I can start us off here. I'm always looking to fade Morono. I was going to say I don't know what it is, but I know what it is. I don't think he's that good. I really don't. He's unathletic. He's not a great striker. He's not a great defensive grappler. His wrestling isn't that good. I don't think he really does anything that great, and I'm not super impressed by his wins either. I mean, Matt Semmelsberger, that's a good win. That, in my opinion, that's a pretty good one. Lost to Santiago, that's okay. Tim Means, I mean, in my opinion, Tim was doing well in that fight until that choke. So not the best look to me. Lost to Buckley, again, that's fine. And then beat my guy, Court McGee. I did have McGee. I did have him at plus 265, something like that. I got so much shit all week long about that bet. And I would make that, watching that fight back, I would make that bet every single time. If they fought 10 times, I would make that bet 10 more times, because I think it was a close fight. I think there was an argument for McGee. And I think that if you run that back multiple times, McGee wins some of those fights. So, yeah. In terms of this matchup, though, I mean, you watch the first fight, it's back in 2017. So you got to take it with a grain of salt, because that was, 7 years ago? So we're talking about a 27-year-old Niko Price, a 26-year-old Morono. You know, it was a long time ago, but they also were already like 26, right? 27. They weren't like 20 years old. So they were probably at their peak or close to their peak at that point. Now they're only getting worse. At least Niko Price, for sure, in my opinion, is getting worse. And I did think about going for it with Niko Price here. In that first fight, Morono had a lot of success early. He was doing pretty well even in the second. And then Niko was kind of just able to catch him and take over and finish that fight. And then he popped, I think, for a weed of all things. And they took away the win, which is such bullshit. Because if anybody knows anyone who smokes weed, or if anyone's ever smoked weed, you understand it's probably the opposite. Like, you should get more points if you win a fight being a weed smoker, instead of losing the match altogether, because it does not make you better at anything in terms of fighting. It's only going to make you slower, if anything, and decrease your cardio if you're smoking it. So that's my little piece. But in terms of this fight, I really wanted to bet Niko. I really wanted to fade Morono again, but I just don't know what I'm getting with Niko anymore. You know, he got knocked out by Lawler in the first round. Horrible, horrible look. The Phil Rowe fight, not the worst look in the world. We're going to talk about Phil Rowe soon. I thought he was doing actually pretty well, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to take the shots anymore. I will give Morono one thing. While I think most of his game is overrated, I think his power is underrated. I think he hits pretty damn hard. So I do think the knockout will be there for him. And, you know, Morono doesn't really have to worry about the grappling here. I don't think his takedown defense is good, but I don't think Niko Price is the guy who's going to come out here and take advantage. That's also why I'm not really crazy about any like Morono sub props. I know people love their Morono sub props. I think all of his wins are front chokes, if I'm not mistaken. I think he has one triangle. The rest are like guillotines. So he's going to need Niko to shoot for that. Maybe he can get like a panic shot if he hurts Niko, but other than that, I don't think it's going to happen. So if Morono wins this, I'm thinking it's going to be a KO or a decision. But if they're going to a decision, I don't know if it's going to be minus 240 or whatever it is, Morono. I think it might be much closer. Niko throws more. I think Niko's a bit of a cleaner striker. I like his striking more. So on the feet, and both guys are super hittable, in my opinion. So on the feet, I think it's competitive. It's just a matter of can Niko's chin hold up? If I knew that it can, I'd back Niko here. I think he's a good dog at plus 195. I think he's very live. And again, if Morono doesn't get a finish on the feet, I think it's really close. So tempted, but I don't think I can get there. I'm not willing to lose money on this one. How about you, Dravi?
Yeah, I don't have the strongest read on this fight, to be honest. Um, yeah, Morono is kind of tricky. I think he's pretty good, but he's not as good as what the market is saying for sure. Like he has a pretty good jab, good BJJ, but he doesn't wrestle. And I like his game in general in the stand up, but I don't like his chin. He's not athletic. And sometimes at first I thought he had very good cardio, but in some fights when he's getting beat up a little bit, he slowed down. The Buckley fight, for example, even the Niko Price fight, you can see in the second round he started to be a little bit sloppy, and that's where Price was able to take advantage of that. And the last thing to go in your career is your power. We know Price is wash in my opinion, but he still have power. You know, the guy is dangerous and he hit hard. And like I said, Morono is a bit chinny. And now Price is also chinny. He took a lot of damage in his career, you know. So one way to play it, let me know what you think about it, because I don't think Price is going to submit it for sure. I don't think he's going to submit him for sure. And I don't really see Morono getting a sub either. I think the fight's probably going to finish by knockout, and you can get the fight end by knockout at plus 100. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like it quite a bit. I mean, like I said, the only way I can see a Morono sub is if Niko goes for like a panic shot, which is possible. We've seen it a million times, but I think most likely outcome is a KO from one of them. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, plus 100, and the fight doesn't go is around minus 175 to minus 200. So you have plus 100 for the fight, and by knockout, you're kind of fading Morono sub because Price is not submitting him. So I kind of like that, and I don't know what type of price you're looking for a Niko here for a bet.
What would I bet Niko at?
Yeah, for his money line.
I mean, I rather not, but what number would I be forced at? I mean, what is he at now? Plus 195. If he was like plus 250, I think I'd have to put a half unit on it, something like that.
Yeah, plus 250. I will probably play him too. Because I'm looking at Pinnacle right now. They have plus 220, plus 212 on Niko Price. So the line's going up, it look like. And with what we've seen so far with the line movements, I feel like the parlay boys are back. Um, like parlaying all the big favorite. So yeah, the money line side is Niko Price for sure. I feel like the fight's gonna be a scrap. It's gonna be who'll get knocked out first type fight, and they're both kind of chinny. But yeah, Price is a wash. A lot of knee surgery. But Morono, he looked bad in his last fight, coming back only I think 2 months later. And yeah, I mean, everybody was saying Court McGee's wash and no chin anymore, you know, and ended up being a close fight. So, like you said, Kyle, if the fight goes to a decision, it's probably going to be a close fight. But yeah, I think either guy can get a KO. So either I go fight end by KO plus 100, or I get involved with some Niko Price if the lines keep going up. But as of now, I'm probably going to pass. So as of for a bet, I think it's dog or pass. But I think Morono probably get a knockout here.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't hate what my guy Dogfather's saying here. Niko decision plus 600. I don't hate it. I feel like Niko does more. I feel like he throws a lot more. And I think on the feet, he's a better guy. It really just comes down to the chin holding up. So don't hate that either. I don't know if I'll get into anything on that fight, but we'll see. Moving on, though, we have a guy we just spoke about a little bit. We have Phil Rowe versus Jake Matthews. Rowe, he's going to be 10-4-0, 33 years old. 6'3" with an 80-inch reach. Matthews on the other side, 19-7-0. Still only 29 years old, so he's 4 years younger. Going to be 4 inches shorter, and he's going to be at an 8-inch reach disadvantage. Why don't you start us off, Travi?
I think you probably have a better read than me on this one. There's some fights on these prelims that I don't have the best read on, but for some reason on the main card I have a lot of like strong takes. So for this one, it's really tricky. I don't think any of these dudes are trustworthy. You know, Philip Rowe dropping the first round at a pretty high clip. Matthew Chin being a little bit weird at time. He's kind of chinny in some fights. In some fights, he's looking all right. And he doesn't really use the path of least resistance most of the time. Like sometimes he should grapple, he doesn't. Like the Matthew Semmelsberger fight, for example, he got dropped multiple times, but he only tried to wrestle a little bit later in the fight. So yeah, in this one, I think Rowe could potentially submit him. Long arms, good front chokes. He's a pretty good grappler. And Matthew has been submitted a couple times before. Yeah, Philip Rowe's gonna win the minutes at distance, and I think Matthew's gonna win in the inside with the boxing. It's pretty good boxing. Uh, but I feel like a club and sub for Philip Rose on the table for sure. But if I go to distance, it's gonna be close. The one thing is weird is Rowe never won a decision in his career. So and now I'm like, Matthew has been in the UFC for a long time. The kid's good, but then you're looking at his win, and it's not great. He's losing to good people, but his wins are not great. So yeah, and Philip Rose sometimes he just get his leg beat up in the Gabe Grid fight, for example. Like that was a terrible looks. So I was looking into tapes, and I see Matthews in some fights. He's throwing a little bit leg kicks. So the leg kicks aspect make me just pass on Rowe. I wanted to bet him at plus 140, but because of the leg kicks that Matthews, I mean, if Matthews is smart, he's gonna kick the legs and he's gonna box in the pocket with him, you know. But yeah, Philip Rowe, if you look on his Instagram, he looks to be coming back for vengeance. Good shape. He looked motivated. He got a lot of hate for his last fight. Bad fight IQ in the Magny fights, just clinched with him. Like that was, I don't know what he was doing. I feel like he could have won that fight if he wanted to. So yeah, he is a weird case, but I think Rowe has slightly better cardio. He's longer. He has some decent power, and I think his front choke series can potentially get like a club and sub here. So yeah, I don't feel strong about anything here. I think for Rowe's the side again. I keep saying every dog is the side, but I don't know how you can lay minus 160 on Jake Matthews here. It's obvious that Phil Rowe is the side, but do you trust him or not? And at plus 140, the price is not big enough for me to just trust him. The leg kicks worry me. Him dropping the first round worry me, and then the fight IQ is not the best too. So yeah, man, I don't feel strong about it, Couch, but I think you're on violence here if I'm not tripping.
What's up?
I think you're on violence for this one, right?
Yeah. I ended up going with fight ends inside the distance. Fight doesn't go the distance. I think I got minus 105. I wanted plus money, the unders plus money, but with these two guys, I wouldn't be surprised if the finish came with like 1 minute left in the fight. So I decided to play it safe, pay up a little bit more to win one unit minus 105. I'll take it. Both of these guys, it's hard to trust either of them. You spoke to it, like in terms of who I think wins, I think it's probably Matthews. I just think he's a better fighter all around. I like his game. I like his striking. I like his grappling. If he's smart and he chooses to wrestle here, I think that's a path for him. Phil Rowe's takedown defense is okay, but his get-ups aren't very good. You see him getting controlled a lot in a lot of fights. And Matthews has a pretty good ground game. I think his control is pretty good. I think he has pretty good jiu-jitsu. And, I've had a pretty good read on Matthews in his last few. Like, I bet him against Fiallo. I faded him with Semmelsberger. I bet him against Flowers. I couldn't understand at all why people were backing Flowers there. It didn't make any sense to me. And, Flowers had a little bit of success backing him up, and just using big shots, which Phil Rowe could do much, much better. So that's a possible argument. And then I had Morales against him there. I thought he looked okay against Morales. Morales is a real good fighter, better than Rowe. But I don't know. It's weird with Matthews. I think his hands are good, but I think it's mostly like counters. I don't know how I feel about his like striking overall. I don't know how I feel about him leading exchanges, but when he's countering, it's really clean. I do think the counters are going to be there up close against Rowe. He just has to watch out for those knees. And again, yeah, if he mixes up that striking, those counters with his grappling, I think there's a path for him. I think he can knock out Rowe. I think he can catch him on the feet later in the fight. I think both guys slow down. But at the same time, again, I can't really trust him. I think he's pretty hittable. I could see Rowe getting his own submission. I could see Rowe catching him on the feet if he actually uses his range for once. I mean, the guy has an 80-inch reach, but he's not really maintaining range a lot. In the Magny fight, he kept clinching up. I don't really know why he does that. If he uses his range here, and then anytime Matthews closes the distance, he throws up those knees, I think he can have a lot of success in this fight. So rather than picking a side, because I get both arguments for both, I think Matthews is a bit better of a mixed martial artist and he's younger, but I can also see why Rowe at plus money here might be the side, because if you can't trust either guy, why not trust the bigger guy who hits harder, who has a path as well, who has probably several paths here. So rather than pick a side, I like my violence bet. Can it go to a decision? Of course it can go to a decision. I could see that, especially if Matthews grapples a lot. But I wouldn't be shocked if it doesn't. I think it goes under more than the price indicates. So that's how I decided to play this one. Let's see what we got here. Dogfather. Everyone mentions Magny fight, but Matthews is fighting close with Morales. Much more bullish for him. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I don't know if anyone's really bullish on Rowe's performance against Magny. That was just horrible. I think I had Magny there at a pretty decent line, but I got pretty lucky that Rowe fought like a moron. CT saying Matthew's going to smoke him. I kind of think he's going to catch him and knock him out also. I really like his counter game. Rowe slows down a lot after round one. Past round one, he stays in the pocket way too long, which could give Matthews a chance. Yeah, that's kind of my read too, but I wouldn't say either guy has the world's best cardio. Moving on, though, we've got this line is interesting to me. We've got Grant Dawson versus Joe Solecki. Dawson, 30 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. Solecki, 13-4-0. He's 30 as well. 5'9". He's 1 inch shorter, and he's going to be at about a 2-inch reach disadvantage. I'll start us off here. I mean, I hate the line on Dawson. I hate it. It's what, like minus 500 something, minus 510.
Yeah, minus 510.
It feels crazy. Like, I get it, but at the same time, I don't know if I really fully get it, because what he's good at, Solecki's good at too. And sure, you can say that Dawson's a better wrestler. He's got the better jiu-jitsu, but Solecki's also a good wrestler. And Dawson hasn't really shown the best takedown defense. And Solecki's also got really good jiu-jitsu. So would I be crazy shocked if I saw Solecki getting takedowns and actually holding Dawson down? No, I wouldn't. So I don't really know how you can get there. And is Dawson that much better of a striker than Solecki? I know Solecki is pillow-fisted and not much of a striker. I don't know if Dawson's that much better, not minus 510. So I think Dawson like minus 250, minus 275. That makes sense. But at this point, I think we're going crazy. I know some people who are on Dawson ITD. I can understand that, maybe get a sub, maybe catch Solecki. Solecki's got pretty bad cardio. And Dawson's got usually pretty good cardio, but can you trust it? I mean, like, what happened with the Ricky Glenn fight? What if that happens here and he's minus 510? And I understand that, Solecki's no Bobby Green, but getting caught like that it was like 10 seconds, 20 seconds into the fight, not a great look either if you're betting him at minus 510. I do think you should win. I think there's some ways to play this. I want to tape this one a little bit more. This is my fight of the week that I have to go back to and see what we're working with. Fight doesn't go like my guy Dogfather saying here at plus money, I think is a pretty good look. I do think most of the finishing upside is on the Dawson side, but again, what if he tires out? Would it be crazy if Solecki got him on the ground? No, I don't think it would be that crazy. So for me, the pick is Dawson. How I would play it, maybe that fight doesn't go, maybe Dawson ITD or Dawson late. I wanted to see what Dawson round 3 decision would be, but it's minus 150. They're kind of on it, and I don't know if I want to lay that kind of chalk. So we'll see. I don't really know what I want to do with this fight, if anything. I hate the line. I know that much. I'll pick Dawson, but for now, no play for me. How about you?
I was about to ask you that I wanted to bet Solecki at plus 385, and I wanted you to stop me, but it looked like you wanted to play.
Do it.
Yeah, but the only thing, Couch, is I'm asking myself, how Joe Solecki win look like? Like, is he gonna control Dawson on the ground or outstrike him? Is he gonna knock him out? Is he gonna submit him? I think the more likely bet that I see is him getting a sub, or if Dawson getting tired, then he can maybe take over. But Solecki slow down more. And Dawson, I know he's the Ricky Glenn fight is garbage, very bad look, but every other fights he got late finishes, like round 2, round 3. He's very good at getting late finishes, and Solecki is gonna fight the fight that he wants, But they're both high-level grappler. Dawson is a slightly better striker, obviously. He fought better competition as well. But I think Dawson's gonna win more minutes on the mat. Like, Solecki kind of accept bottom position a little bit too much for me. So yeah, I'm trying in my head to figure out how he wins. And it's just hard, Couch. That's the thing. It's just I really see Dawson winning, but then I don't think he should be minus 500. So like, do I really want to bet Solecki that I think lose at a pretty decent clip? I think there's value on the line for sure, but I'm not like too passionate about playing him. Um, I look at the sub prop for him yesterday was plus 750. It's now plus 900. So money's still coming in on the other way on Dawson. So the props are getting better. So you can get Solecki by sub, but yeah, no, don't take sub. Take the ITD. It's plus 850. Like for the difference, you take ITD. But I mean, plus 850 couch. That's kind of a big number, don't you think?
Yeah, especially with Solecki having good jiu-jitsu, Dawson slowing down. I wouldn't be crazy shocked if it happened.
Yeah, man, that's and after that you can go with the classic Dawson round two, round three. It's some pretty good numbers for him, and that's usually how he finish fights. So that's not bad. Now the fight doesn't go as pretty decent. I feel like there's a lot of good props here, but at the end of the day, I feel like the most likely outcome is Dawson by decision, but it's minus 110, so it's really very bad. So I don't like it. I feel like it's a type of fight where we're going to see a lot of opportunity to finish, and then it's going to go the distance. That's kind of how I see it. And so like he's going to look value and lose. So yeah, I don't want to get involved in this, but if the line get touched plus 400, I might have to couch. That's kind of what I'm thinking now. Like the parlay boys are back. Like I'm seeing this card. Like Islam got to almost minus 800 at one point. Dawson minus 510. Ailin closing to minus 300. Hafez minus 350. So people are really parlaying these big favorite. So I'm just looking at and I'm trying to catch the big dog that are gonna win. And I'm not sure Solecki is one of them, but plus 400 all around can you be right? So I'm gonna be looking at that line and see where he ends up.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat there. Like I always talk about this. If I'm gonna play a big dog, because I love my big underdogs, that's my most successful ROI on Bet MMA is big underdogs. It's like 20 something percent. I'm pretty proud of that. But I got to be able to game it out in my head. And a knockout seems really unlikely. Decision again, you have to really think that Dawson's just going to really slow down then, because winning minutes for Solecki should be pretty hard here. I do think he can get takedowns and maybe hold him down, but it's going to be hard. And I guess the sub is the way he wins, but
Yeah,
again, what
that's
does that
exactly
really
where
look
I'm
like?
at. That's exactly where I'm at. I'm like, I don't really see a path outside of a sub for him, but yeah,
Yeah,
we never know, right? It's MMA.
it's MMA now. Solecki's going to come out here and get a round one knockout.
He's gonna come back and do the reverse, bro. He's gonna get a slam knockout.
Oh God!
Imagine.
As long as I got no action on it, I'm happy. Or if I have that under, or if fight doesn't go, then I'll be good with that. But all right, moving on. This is like the big fight of the week for MMA Twitter. I'm seeing most people on Almeida, but we'll talk about it. We got Roman Kopylov versus Cesar Almeida. Kopylov 12-3-0. He's 33 years old, 6 feet tall at the 75-inch reach. On the other side, Almeida, he's going to be 5-0 undefeated as a pro. 36, he's 3 years older, 1 inch taller, and he's going to be at a 1 inch reach disadvantage. Why don't you start us off?
Yeah, my breakdown's gonna be a little bit boring, but yeah, if you didn't bet Almeida at plus 134, plus 135, you kind of missed the boat here. Like I think he win, but I wouldn't play minus 120 on him. I feel like minus 125, minus 150, that's where it should be. So at plus 134, I was more than happy to play him, and like it's gonna be a striking fight. I don't see either guy getting takedowns, and probably a hot take. I don't think I heard that on any podcast. I heard some people talking about Kopylov wrestling it. Maybe he can get some takedowns. I think Almeida has the better ground game of the two. Like I don't know if you remember the Dynamite Contender Series fight. The guy who was fighting was kind of a good grappler, and he was able to reverse position. I think his ground game is underrated, Almeida. And Kopylov, I think his takedown defense is very good, but I don't think his ground game is good. So I think Almeida's better on the ground, but he's not gonna shoot takedowns. But what I'm saying is, if Kopylov shoot takedowns, he might end up himself getting reversed because that's not his game. But now I think the fight's gonna play out on the feet. And to me, Carl's the biggest thing that I've noticed, especially with the kickboxing fight of Almeida, is the leg kicks. Like to me, that's the key to victory here. We've seen Kopylov struggle with leg kicks against Carl Robinson. I know that was a long time ago, but That's the last time he fought a glowy kickboxer, so I think it's important to watch that fight back. And he was like that was close on the feet, but he was losing a lot of minutes, and most of it was because of the leg kicks of Robinson. And Almeida has pretty nasty leg kicks. I know he has not really shown it a lot in MMA, but his leg kicks are very good. And Kopylov doesn't check leg kicks that much. You know, even Ribeiro, who I don't rate as a fighter, had a ton of success with leg kicks, and almost he hurt Kopylov, and then he shoot a takedown like a dumbass. Thanks to him because I had Kopylov by knockout. But yeah, I just feel like we know what Kopylov game is. Like I think he's one of my most profitable fighter. I play him in a parlay when he was a big favorite against Soriano. No, he was not. Let me just confirm. He was a big favorite against Ribeiro, right? Yo, okay.
I think
So
so.
I play him in a parlay when he was a big favorite against Frem. I play him by knockout against Ribeiro. I'm not sure which one, okay, but I think I play KO for Frem and I play him in a parlay against Ribeiro, one of the other. Um, and I'm not sure I play him against Soriano, but I played him against Fluffy pretty big. I had Fluffy ITD, I had Fluffy round 2, round 3 for a lot of money there. But now that's a different matchup. But if you're looking at the striker that he's beat, he beat like Josh Fram, Ribeiro, Soriano, De Chirico. Like they're decent guy, but they're not the same level of striker of Almeida. Almeida, I'm kind of impressed with his striking. I know he's older in MMA, but yeah, to me, his striking is pretty good. And I talk about his ground game being underrated. I think another part about him being underrated that people don't know, they don't really know about is his chin. Um, I don't know if you run back some of his kickboxing fight, but I watched the Alex Pereira fight, and he fought him 3 times, right? He never got finished, but he got dropped in that fight one time. I don't know if you remember, but he got hit with a left hook back to back to back from Poda, and then he go down. 3 left hooks, couch. I know that the gloves are bigger, but how many times have we seen Poatan putting dudes out cold with that shot? And he needed 3 to put him down, and he still recover and go the distance. And other fights, Wise, I don't know how to say his name. He's I think one of the best kickboxer in Glory right now. He fought him to a very close decision. I think he won that fight. And now in MMA, he fought wrestler, grappler most of the time, so we're not really seeing his striking game. But I know for a fact after watching a lot of kickboxing match that is pretty good. And yeah, he's gonna have the fight that he wants here, and I feel like he's just a better striker than Kopylov. I think Kopylov's gonna be faster than him, but Almeida to me is a little bit more durable. I think he has better cardio than Kopylov. I think he hit a little bit harder, and he's gonna beat up his leg early. So with that being the case, we've seen Kopylov kind of getting his read and getting finished in round 2, round 3. I think the opposite's gonna happen here. He's never finishing people in round 1. He's slowing down Kopylov, but he's getting late finishes. So I don't think Almeida's gonna slow down. I think Kopylov is the more likely of the two to slow down here. I think Almeida is the more likely of the two to knock out the other. And it's probably going to be close in a decision, but I think Almeida is going to do a little bit more damage. He's going to land a bigger shot. I think he's going to be like the leg kicks to me, Couch. Like after 6-7 minutes, I think Kopylov's going to struggle badly with his legs. And we know how that thing works, right? So if your legs are beat up, your power is not going to be there as much. And Kopylov doesn't switch stances a lot. So Almeida is going to take advantage of that, beat up the legs early, and maybe gets a finish as the fight goes on, maybe round 2, round 3. But I wouldn't be surprised if I see him winning a decision. So I didn't get too cute. I just played the money line. I play plus 134. Like I said, I think he should be the favorite. I think he's going to win the fight. And yeah, so Topology is saying 77% Kopylov. Interesting. But yeah, I see a lot of love for Almeida. I understand at plus money. But yeah, Kopylov, I think that's it's going to be his toughest fight on the feet against Almeida.
Yeah, I get it. For me, like I passed it on Almeida when he was like plus 130 or whatever, and I'm definitely not going to be playing him at minus 120. I do understand what everyone's talking about, and it's enough where I'm not really that interested in Kopylov either. I originally was pre-tape, but post-tape, not really. But I do think there's some recency bias on this line. I mean, in Kopylov's last fight with Fluffy, everyone was so high on him after all those knockouts that they were running to the window to back him against a horrible matchup in Fluffy. And now he loses that fight, and they're ready to fade again with a better matchup because he's not fighting a strong grappler this time. And Almeida, everyone running to the window to fade him with my guy Dylan Buka, but Almeida pulled it off, and now everyone wants to bet him again. So I think there's some recency bias, but I do get the argument because Kopylov, I think he's much faster, and I think he's a bit better at range. But it's not like he's amazing at maintaining that range. He can be a bit hittable. We've seen him fight close with guys like even Ribeiro in the first round. And I think Ribeiro has a similar style to Almeida, just Almeida's a much better striker. Both of them are a bit flat-footed. Both of them move forward. And Ribeiro was having a lot of success, even though he was throwing pretty wide. And Almeida throws wide, but he's much cleaner with it. He's a very high-level striker. My main question is, how's that striking going to translate to MMA? And I don't think we have a great answer yet because a lot of it has been grappling against Lucas Fernando. You know, Fernando had some success of his own on the feet too. It wasn't just one-way traffic. So I don't know if he's going to be as good in MMA with the striking as he was back in kickboxing. He might be. He might turn out like Pereira. Maybe we'll get a rematch one day. Who knows? That's probably what the UFC wants, I would imagine, with a 5-0 36-year-old. But I'm not ready to just be running to play him in every single fight. And I just think Kopylov, you know, he's been in the cage much more. He's much more experienced in MMA. Is him grappling super unlikely? Yes, but it is something that I think is worth considering. He's been training in Russia for a long time now. He's been doing it to use that grappling defensively, but it's a possibility. And, you know, Almeida has looked good in the takedown defense, so I don't know if it's going to be much. There's a reason I backed Almeida against a really good grappler in Butka, and that was because I thought he could defend the takedowns, and even if Butka got him down, he wouldn't do much damage, and that was exactly the case. And I think Kopylov would be similar. Even if he did get the takedown, is it going to be easy for him to hold Almeida? Probably not, because it's just not his game. And if Kopylov is trying to grapple, is that going to tire him out? Because, again, it's not his game, and it might. So I'm not ready to say he's going to come out here and wrestle and have success with it. I think on the feet, it'll be close. I think Kopylov, the kicks are really good. I think that'll be a good weapon for him. Go to the legs, go to the body like he does. I really like the kicks. I really love the hand speed. I think he's nasty with the counters. So I do think he's live, and I'm kind of still leaning his way in terms of just a straight pick. But I don't think I'm going to get to either side. I'm going to stay away. I'm going to keep watching Almeida. And, you know, if Almeida knocks him out, his next price is probably going to be crazy. So maybe it'll be a fade, and we'll see what happens. But I guess I'm going to pick Kopylov, just more experience in MMA, faster. I think he can compete on the feet, and I think he throws more. But I don't blame anybody for the Almeida play, and I'm going to pass, I think, unless it gets really crazy. Like if Kopylov hits plus 150, I'll probably play him. But
for sure. Yeah, I understand.
Other than that, I'm going to pass, I think. Moving on, we've got Randy Brown versus Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. Randy Brown, 18-5-0, 33 years old. The return of the 33-year-old experiment. It's been you know about my weird thing, right, Javi?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's been dry for a few weeks. We had a few cards in a row where I was really disappointed. My theory was being disproven that there's a lot of 33-year-olds fighting in the UFC. But on this card, I think we have like 6 of them or 7 of them. So I'm very excited. And right now, I've been tracking it. The 33-year-old experiment, it's been running since 297. UFC 290. When was the Strickland DDP fight? Was that 297? I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I've been doing it since around then. And right now, 33-year-olds have a 6. I think what's the ROI? I don't remember. We're up 6 units technically if you're betting 1 unit on every single 33-year-old. So just saying. But we're back with the experiment this week. But yeah, Brown 6-3, 78-inch reach. Zaleski 24-7-1. He's 37, so he's 4 years older, 4 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 5-inch reach disadvantage. I'll start us off here. I played Zaleski. I played him at plus 145. I think it's a pretty good spot. I mean, I backed Salikov against Brown at like plus 210 or something for a reason, and I think Zaleski can do everything I thought Salikov could do, but better. Salikov is pretty slow at this point. I mean, he's always been pretty slow and pretty low output, but especially now. And Brown has looked good. You know, in that fight, he looked real good. But before that, has he really looked that great all the time? No, he's very inconsistent. He's very good at range. He's a great striker. When he uses that range, he's very clean. The 1-2s, the jab, the reach, he's really good at using it most of the time. And his grappling is pretty good too. But my main issue with him is if you back him up, he gets pretty uncomfortable. And he's not as good at the striking once you're able to back him up, stop his movement, keep him from using his reach advantage. And we've seen that multiple times. It's even with Wellington Turman, and I think Wellington Turman is horrible. I'm always looking to fade Wellington Turman, and I thought he looked better than he should have in that fight. And it was when he was backing up Brown that he was having the most success. Even like Trinaldo, that fight was way too close. You can't trust this guy, especially not at chalk. And Zaleski, he's kind of the opposite. If he's the underdog, it's usually a good reason to trust him. Like in the Renat Fakhretdinov fight, I faded him. I played Renat, and in the first round, I was like, I'm a genius. I knew it. Everyone was an idiot playing Zaleski at plus whatever it was, 300. And then Zaleski starts doing his thing, and I think there's even an argument that Zaleski won that fight. I thought round 2 could have gone to him. Personally, I think I do give round 2 to him. I'm glad it was a draw, so I got my money back. But
Me
I do
too,
think he
bro.
won that fight.
I play Renat with you there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Renat would kill him, and he almost did. And then Zaleski recovered, and that's kind of a concern with Zaleski. Is he's 37. I do think he gets hurt a lot in a lot of his fights at this point. It wasn't just the Renat fight, but I think his recovery is still really good. And if Brown does hurt him, I do think he can recover. I think his striking is still really solid. I think his pressure is really good. I think he will be able to stop Brown from moving. I do think he's going to be able to close the distance on Brown. And up close, I think he's going to have a lot of success. I think even at this age, even at this stage of his career, he's still a really good or very dangerous striker. I think his takedown defense is good. I think that Brown, I think his jiu-jitsu is good, but I think people overrate his offensive wrestling a bit, and I don't really think he's going to get a lot of takedowns against Zaleski. So for me, it was a pretty easy click at the underdog price, plus 145. I thought that was good. I think this is going to play out pretty close. I could see a finish from either side. Kind of considered fight doesn't go, but I don't want to like double up and have Zaleski and fight doesn't go. Then I'm kind of just hoping for Zaleski to knock him out, and I'd rather not do that. So just going to ride my dog ticket. How about you?
Yeah, we're on the same side here. I agree with you. To touch up a little bit on what you said about the close fights, like 29-28 decision versus Gooden, 29-28 decision versus Chaos William. A lot of people think that he lost that fight. Close 29-28 decisions versus 43 years old Trinaldo. Can make an argument that he lost that one too. Close 29-28 versus Tarman. And yeah, that's also a guy in Randy Brown that has been knocked out 3 times in his UFC career. Like you talk about Zaleski chin being like not the best, but Brown is chinny too. And to your point, I think Zaleski recovery is better than Brown. And one thing that you didn't talk about that I think is going to be very important here. I just talked about the leg kicks on the other fight. I think that's another one. Zaleski has very good leg kicks, and Brown's that's one of his biggest weakness. With his style, he's kind of a boxing heavy guy, and you can beat up his legs. And I think Zaleski is going to take advantage of that. He's pretty nasty with it. I think in the clinch, he's going to have a lot of success with knees too. And then you touch it up perfectly. Like he's going to pressure Brown. That's what you want him to do. You want a guy that's going to pressure him. You want a guy that hit hard. You want a guy that has good cardio, that recover if needed. And yeah, so I don't think Brown's going to land takedowns. I don't think Zaleski is going to land takedown. I think they're going to strike. Brown's going to win the minutes for the most part, but I think Zaleski is going to win the moments. So in a decision, it's going to be close. Pretty confident in that. So we won the plus money in a decision. But for a finish, I think the market overreact to Brown last fight being a KO. Let's not forget, he didn't KO Turman, He didn't KO 43 years old Ronaldo, but now he got a big KO. Impressive win. He looked good. But again, market's overreacting to him getting a big knockout, and we need to take advantage of that. Zaleski, he's back on the sauce. Let's be real. He was on some type of shit against.
I mentioned that one too.
Yeah, he was back. He was on some type of shit against BSD. BSD talked about it many times in interviews in French that he think this fight should be overturned, but they didn't overturn the fight. But now there's no USADA. You think Zaleski's gonna be clean? Like, no, he's not. They just put it that way. So I think that's going to help him for his chin and for his cardio. And yeah, bro, I think at some point he's gonna knock him out. He's gonna, if he's smart, he's just gonna invest in the leg kicks early and find a finish late. That's how I see it. He's gonna land the bigger shot. I think he's gonna have the big moments, and Brown's gonna be winning the minutes, and then oh, that's a big shot from Zaleski. Oh, maybe he's hurt. He hurt him. Then stole the round or finish him. That's kind of how I see it. So, like you just said, easy click at the underdog price that it's at. And I think people kind of too high on Brown here after his last win, but he's always in close fight when he's not getting a big KO like that. And do you know when it was the last time that he got a big knockout like that? I'm gonna confirm to you. I checked last time. It was in 2019. So, and Zaleski's pretty underrated. You talk about him as an underdog that you want to back him. I agree with that. In fact, he's 5-2-1 as an underdog in the UFC. It's pretty damn good, you want to be on that side. And he's 14-1 to the KO. So that's also good. And let's not forget, he's 10-3-1 in the UFC. A knockout win over Sean Strickland that we're going to talk about. Like, this dude can crack, and he's underrated in the UFC. He's 37, but Brown's almost 34. Let's not act like he's much younger. So I know he's 33, Couch, but yeah, I think Zaleski's the clear side here for me. I think he gets a knockout.
Don't take the 33-year-old stuff away from me, Javi. It's too important. But it's a really good point with the leg kicks. I did forget to talk about that with the big, long, lanky legs of Randy Brown, and he doesn't check kicks. So I do think that's a really good weapon for ZDS. Real quick, MMA Clips was asking us if we think there's a big speed gap in the Kopylov Almeida fight. I do. I think Kopylov is like stupid fast, but I don't know if it's going to be that big of a factor.
Yeah, I don't think it's like there's a massive difference, but in the breakdown that I posted for my guys on Dog Club, I said like my worry is Kopylov's speed from me betting Almeida. That's my biggest worry. So yeah, I give him a speed advantage, and I'm on Almeida, but I don't think it's going to be that wide. And the fact that Almeida is going to be pressuring him, like he's going to pressure him a lot, and he's going to land big shot. Which, if you're on your back foot and the guy just pressure, the speed's not going to look as good. So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on. Next up, we've got Jailton Almeida versus Alexandr Romanov. Almeida, 23-0. He's 32 years old, 6'3" with a 79-inch reach. Romanov, 17-2-0. He's 33, 6'2", so he's 1 inch shorter, and he's going to be at a 4-inch reach disadvantage. Munch starts off, Drabi.
Yeah, that's another weird fight. I don't know how you can get to minus almost 300 for Almeida here. I think, to be honest, Couch, it might sounds dumb, but the first guy to land a takedown, get on top, win the fight. That's what I think. Like, pretty clear, straightforward. And Almeida's probably gonna shoot first, so I understand why he's the favorite. On the feed, do you think Romanov's the better striker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's also one thing I found interesting. That's the first southpaw that can grapple that Almeida's going to be facing. First. And Almeida, I don't think his striking's that bad, but he's just not comfortable on the feed. So let's say they just strike for 15 minutes. For 15 minutes, for some reason, I favor Romanov to outstrike him. And Romanov can take down this dude. I'm pretty confident in that. But is he going to shoot first, or is Almeida's going to get on his legs? So that's my thing here. Who do you trust more? I think both of these guys are kind of not quitter, but they need to be the one having the being the bully, if I can say, So Almeida's, he's not the natural heavyweight. Romanov is. I love Romanov being King Kong on top. I think that's how he gets it done if you win. Like, you just pull a King Kong ground and pound TKO. Almeida, when he got reversed a little bit on the White Contender Series, I don't think, I have a big suspicion that he's not good off his back, and he's gonna quit if he gets hit a little bit too hard. Even in the Derek Lewis fight, you can see when Lewis landed the ground and pound into, and he ended up a little bit on his back, he was not liking that. It was only like 15 seconds, and people are just too low on Romanov now. I don't think he's that bad. Like, he gassed, I understand, and he's fat. But if that fat dude get on top of you and start to pound you out, I think Almeida's gonna I think he's gonna quit a little bit, So Yeah, man, it's dog or pass for me for sure. Couch at these odds, it's no brainer for me. Like I said, the first guy to get a takedown win the fight. The first one to get on top. Almeida's probably the better grappler, but Romanov is a pretty good grappler of his own. I don't see either of these dudes getting submitted. I think the fight end by knockout like plus 200. That's a good look. I can see either of these dudes getting a ground and pound finish. That's actually my read here. I think it's gonna be ground and pound finish a way or another. So fight ending by KO plus 200, or you bet Romanov money line plus 240 or whatever it is.
Yeah, for me, I went ahead. I parlayed Almeida at minus 250. I put him with the main event fight doesn't go. Played that to win 1 unit. I've been yelling off the rooftops that Romanov is horrible since he got signed, and everyone was so high on him, and I couldn't understand why. Because if you watched his regional tape, he was fighting the worst competition ever, and he still didn't look that great. His striking was horrible, and I'll give it to him. His striking has definitely improved. In the Blagoy fight, he won that fight essentially with just striking, and Blagoy's a pretty good striker, but Blagoy is also old, slow, and doesn't throw a lot and doesn't really do anything to separate himself in his fights. So impressive, but it's not like he got really pushed. It's not like he got pushed and his cardio got tested. I backed Marcin Tybura at like plus 2 something against him.
Good shit.
Cash. I backed Volkov against him. That felt good. And I just don't think he's that good. Like, is he the better striker here? Probably. We don't really know because Almeida just never leaves it there. Like, he doesn't leave it standing ever. He shoots immediately every single time. So his output is terrible, and we don't really know how good his striking is or if it's getting better. From the small parts we've seen, it seems like he only really has the jab and the front kick, and then he uses that to go straight into the takedown. So if Romanov can stuff the takedowns, yeah, he's probably the better striker, but I just don't think he can stuff them. Like, I think Almeida will shoot first. I don't think Romanov has good takedown defense. I don't think that he does the right things. I don't see him going for underhooks or fighting for hand control. And I think Almeida can do what Juan Espino did, but better because he's not 40 years old, and I think he's a really good fighter. Romanov off his back, like, I think he's going to struggle. I think he will gas here because I do think he's going to get pushed this time. Almeida's going to push him from the second the fight starts, and I just think he's going to gas, and I think Almeida's going to be able to get a later finish, round 2, round 3, maybe even just end of round 1. I didn't want to get funky with it. I just played Almeida straight. I'll watch what the props are. Maybe I'll get to later rounds. I don't see it. Like, for me, Romanov has to knock him out somehow, and I don't really know how he's going to do it. Like, in the Curtis Blades fight, I think Curtis is leagues above Romanov in everything about MMA. I think he's a much better fighter, and I bet Almeida there. And in the first round, Almeida, he wasn't really able to do a ton to Blades. But again, I think Blades is just a much better grappler, both defensively and offensively, than Romanov. And then, it was a really weird finish, but I'm pretty sure he caught Almeida with that uppercut. I know the commentary was like split back and forth. I don't know what you think, but to me, it looked like he got caught with that uppercut, and then he got finished with the strikes. I don't think Romanov's going to do something like that. I don't think he has it in him. And yeah, Almeida's been taken down like in the Nasruddinov fight. I'm sure that's what everyone's looking at. But that was at light heavyweight, and Nasruddinov, he's quicker than Romanov. Romanov's not quick. He's not explosive. I'm not super impressed with the grappling. So can he get a takedown? Sure, it's possible, but I think Almeida's more likely to get them. And I think that Almeida's control is much better than Romanov's. Romanov is just very heavy. So sure, maybe it'll be hard, but I think Almeida's jiu-jitsu is good enough where he can scramble. I think his jiu-jitsu is much better than Romanov's. I know both of them have a lot of subs. But I mean, some of Romanov's subs, we're talking about these regional dudes. They were like 40 years old plus. They were all very, very small. Like he got a choke. I forgot who it was. Was it Lima that he choked out just putting his arm on his neck?
Yes.
Like, that is not a high-level submission, and that is not going to work on most guys. That is not going to work on Jailton Almeida. Now watch what happens because I said that, but I really don't think so. So I think this should be a pretty simple fight for Almeida. Can he get caught? Yeah, it's MMA. It can happen. It sucked when it happened in the Blades fight, but I think I think him being a heavy favorite makes sense here.
The only thing, Couch, is like one is the last time we've seen someone try to shoot on him and get on top was the Dana White Contender Series fight that you talk about. Like every other fight, he fought striker or he was the one like taking people down, So that's why I'm like, if Romanov, I think Romanov wrestling is pretty good, to be honest. He can't do this for 15 minutes, but I think in the first round, let's say he's trying for a takedown, I think he can get it. And if he does get a takedown and gets on top, I think he finish him.
In the
Like
first round, you really think he can just finish him like that off top?
if he gets on top, in full mount and start to pound him out, you think Almeida's gonna escape and reverse or something?
I think he can reverse him. Yeah, dude, this is not going to work on Almeida. There's no way.
I mean, bro, he got hit with like 2-3 little shot, and he was like that. I bet Almeida versus Blades too, but when you start to get hit, he doesn't like that. Even the Lewis fight, he was dominated. He got hit a little bit sometime in I think round 3, and it looked like if Lewis do 2-3 more shots, he was kind of ready to quit. It was weird. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there was like a minute in the Lewis fight that was like, is he about to lose this? That was weird. So yeah, I think if Romanov gets on top, he's heavier than him, he's bigger, and yes, Romanov has decent ground and pound, to be honest, bro. And Almeida's never been facing someone that's gonna try to do that. So if somehow he'd end up on bottom and start Romanov pound his face, yeah, I think he's gonna get him. But am I super confident about that? No, obviously. But yeah, he's a big underdog for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him getting the takedown in the first round. I can't really see him finishing him. Like, I don't think it happens at a high clip. And after the first round, I don't think Romanov's going to have enough.
And what about Almeida cardio if he get pushed in the wrestling? Because, he looked good in the Lewis fight cardio-wise, but he fought no adversity to get the takedowns whatsoever, and he didn't work on top, So if Romanov pushed him in the first round, do you think both dudes going to be tired after 5 minutes? And then we have like a sloppy fight?
That wasn't really the case in the Nasruddinov fight. He was fine in the second round, and he got pushed.
That was at 205, though.
Yeah, but again, it was a pretty good grappler. Like, Nasruddinov is still a good wrestler. He lost that fight, yes, but the point is, like, Almeida didn't slow down, even though he did face adversity. He did get taken down. He was on bottom. He came back and he won the fight in the second. And I feel like even if Romanov takes him down, like, he'll just do it. He'll be able to do that again in the second or third round, find the finish.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess the point where we disagree is, I think if he gets on top, you can finish him more than you. That's probably why we disagree.
MMA clips, you can't think like that, my brother. Recency bias. And Blades is mad good. Like, that's what people, like, I feel like that's what people just aren't getting. Like, there's a huge difference between Blades and Romanov. And yeah, I just think
it is for sure, but I don't think there's recency bias on the line though, because he's minus 275,
I feel like it just could be wider. That's why I parlayed him, because I feel like it could be wider. But we can move on. Next up, we've got Kevin Holland versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. Kevin Holland, 25-11-0, 31 years old. He's 6'3" with an 81-inch reach. Oleksiejczuk, he's 19-7-0, 29 years old. He's going to be 2 years younger, 3 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 7-inch reach disadvantage. I'll start us off here. I mean, I think Holland's probably going to knock Oleksiejczuk out, but I don't think I'm going to be betting this fight. Holland is what now? He's minus 270. Like, it's Holland. Can you ever bet him at minus 270 and be comfortable? I don't know. I personally don't think I can, but I think this is a pretty good matchup for him. I know people are talking about the grappling. Like, that needs to stop. Holland is not a grappler. It's something he can do. Can it work on Oleksiejczuk? Sure, but he's not going to – I don't think he's going to grapple. I think he's going to strike. I think that's enough. I think he can strike. I think he can knock out Michal, and I think he will. Michal, he's horrible defensively, super hittable, slows down. He's good in round one, but after that, I don't think he's that great. And I just think Holland's going to be able to land a lot of big strikes. Holland is a clean striker. His 1-2 down the pipe is nasty. He's got a lot of power. He's fast. So I think it's a pretty good matchup for him. I guess the sub could be there if it's like a club-in sub maybe, and Michal decides to shoot, which I don't think is likely. I bet Michal last time out against Michel Pereira, and I felt pretty good about that play until the fight started, and then I was like, damn, I'm a moron apparently. Pereira just ran through him. Can Holland do that? I don't think he can do it like that, but I think I overrated Michal a little bit. And watching it back, I'm just not super impressed with him. So I have no interest in playing him at plus 230, even though I think the line's a little bit crazy. If Michal doesn't get the finish in round one, which I kind of have a hard time seeing, is it going to come later? Is he going to break Holland? I don't really think so. I have a hard time seeing that. So for me, it's Holland, maybe Holland ITD. I've been thinking about pulling the trigger. I saw minus 110 on, I think DraftKings had minus 110. I'll see what other books have it. If I can get Holland ITD like plus 100, I think I could get there because I do think he's going to finish here. Michal does tire out if he doesn't get the finish. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. How about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. I play Pierre against Michal, and I play no, I didn't
MVP?
play no, I didn't play MVP. I played nothing last fight against I think Ailin got embarrassed in the striking last time out, and probably gonna come here and I think he really won like a big win, like a big finish. You know, he got beat up in the striking. That was pretty like crazy. And one thing that he showed again in that fight is he has an elite chin. You know, elite. Mitchell, he only been knocked out one time, so he has a pretty good chin overall, but he got hurt in a lot of these fights. But sometimes he's getting club and sub. For example, the last time, he's a tough dude. Like, you know, for example, the the Chidi fight, like he was getting beat the fuck up, bro. Like the knees, the elbows, everything, and he still found a way to win. My point is not easy to knock out. And I'm pretty confident that at some point Alden's gonna hurt him. I can see him hurting him with like knees in the clinch or body shots or something. He has a longer reach. He's longer. You know, he has power at distance. And Mikal is just gonna rush forward. Like he's good in first round. He has a lot of power. Goes to the body. He's gonna put pressure on Alden, but I don't think it's likely that he knock out Alden. And like you said, he slowed down after a round. I know you talk about the grappling, but I need to talk about it too because Allen is the much better grappler. It's not even close. Like the difference between these two on the mat is gigantic. It's crazy. But now, can you trust Allen to shoot the takedowns? No, for sure. But the way I see it is, you kind of touch on it, but I think he's gonna hurt him. And Mikal's he's not gonna just quit, you know, after he get hurt. He's gonna try to recover, clinch or something. I think Allen's gonna roll a darts or something. I think he's gonna club and sub him. That's really the way I see this fight. Even when Michal get hurt, you prefer to give up the sub than getting KO. We just see it against Pereira. He was basically knocked out, and then he decided to give up the sub. You know, so and he only has one KO loss in his career. So I think Allen's gonna get a sub here. I know the price is kind of the same between the KO and the sub, but you can go ITD and then you can put a sub too if you feel good about it. The fight doesn't go as like minus 260 or something. So they're giving minus 260, yeah. So yeah, there's no way Allen ITD is minus 110 and the fight doesn't go as minus 260. Like I find it very hard to see Mikal finishing Allen, to be honest. So I think Allen, he has KO and submission upside. So at 50% imply, I love the ITD, and but I think it's a sub. So I love the sub. You talk about the cardio concerns, so I guess you can go round two, round three, all in. But I really think it can be in any round that you find a finish. But I think it's going to be a sub here.
Yeah, I thought about round two, round three also. I've been using a lot of those, and it's been working out for me. I mean, not too long ago, I forget what card it was, but literally the only bets I hit, and it ended up being a profitable night, were Victor Henry round three and
Oh yeah,
Petrovic round three.
I hit that with you. Henry round three. That was money.
Those two were the only bets I hit that night, and it was a profitable card. So I've been doing those, but I agree. I could see Holland just doing it in the first round also because Michal just comes out and he comes right at you. He's not some careful fighter, so it's a little scary.
Yeah, he's gonna come right at Allen. So I feel like he can get sniped with like a counter shot. But yeah, I think he's gonna get hurt to the body and then he's gonna get club and sub. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be looking for that ITD. If Dogfather could stop moving lines, that would be great. I swear to God, every time I want to play something, right before I play it, the line moves, and I hit him up. I'm like, "Was it you?" And half the time it was him. But hopefully, I can find that plus 100. Next up, we've got our co-main event. We have Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. Strickland, he is 28, 6-0, 33 years old, 6'1" with a 76-inch reach. Costa 14-3-0. He's also 33. So I can't count this fight on the 33-year-old experiment because it's two 33-year-olds fighting each other. But he's 6'1" with a 72-inch reach, so he's at a 4-inch reach disadvantage. Why don't you start us off, Javi?
I really wanted to bet Costa when he was plus 200. I was looking into tapes to find ways to bet him, and I found a couple things that you can like. So I faded Strickland against Cannonier at plus money, against Pereira at Pick'em, and against DDP at plus money. And my reasoning between this is, uh, my reasoning because of that was he's kind of struggling against big, muscular guys that are going to pressure him, and that hit hard, you know? And that's why I did those play. And now Costa is kind of a similar matchup, but I don't think he's as good as a DDP, as a Pereira, obviously, and as a Cannonier, you know? He's not as technical. He doesn't like, I don't like him as much. But now I was looking into Costa tapes, and one thing that I realized is head kick and spinning well kick. It's probably what's going to get him the job done if he wants to. I think that's how he could have success and hurt Strickland. We've seen DDP like struggling bad in the first round with his boxing, and he makes some good adjustment with the kicks, head kicks, body kicks, everything. And Costa has a very good body kick and a very good head kick, spinning well kick. He hurt Rob Whittaker with that, and he, bro, the body kicks that Vettori was eating, like, dude, this dude has fucking like, I don't know, man. He has a brick head, but even his body, bro, like Costa hit him with some big ass body shot. Now we need to talk about this fight because that's his first 5-round fight in the UFC. Was at 205 though. It looked like he didn't train for the fight.
That was crazy.
But yeah, I'm kind of impressed with his cardio. I don't like. I thought his cardio was bad, but after going back looking at it a little bit more, he's slowed down. Don't get me wrong, but he still pushed through it. You know, so he won the fifth round against Vettori. Like even when he's tired, he's still able to land big shot Costa. So I don't think his cardio is as bad. But let's just say this fight is a 3-rounders. I'm betting Costa at plus 200, no doubt. But 5 rounds favors Strickland. Strickland's the bigger name. He's probably the one that has for 5 rounders. And then that's a big step down in competition for Strickland, fighting DDP and Adesanya. And Costa, I'll say like that's a step up for sure. But he just fought Whittaker. But before that, if you look his last couple fights, not great, you know. I love the fact that he's being active now, coming back a couple months after, because I think he looked good in the Whittaker fight, you know. But yeah, I'm looking into this. I'm like, he's not gonna have success with leg kicks. Strickland does a good job at checking them. He's gonna need to go all in on the body kicks and the head kicks, and I think he can catch Strickland with a spinning well kick or head kick KO. And if the fight go to distance, it's probably going to be a little bit more close than what people think because Costa's going to land the bigger shot, but Strickland's going to land the better shot. Strickland's going to be the minute winner, Costa the moment winner. But yeah, I think Strickland is the more better boxer. I think he's the way better fighter overall. He's way better defensively, better cardio, like I said, more volume, and higher level fighter in general. He improved a lot recently, Strickland. I think he's pretty good. And he's not a guy that you see at a big favorite price like that. Like the fighters that I talked to you about was almost pick him or plus 110, plus 120, and now Costa was plus 200. I guess because you can't really give me good wins for Paulo Costa that are still in the UFC. And Strickland just lost a close fight against DDP. I bet DDP there. I thought that he won, but that was very close. And I love the fact that the coach of Strickland talked about him putting Sting on rounds. Like they want him to really win the round at the end and put something on it, like land bigger shot and just make sure he won the fight and make sure he finished too if he needs to. So yeah, man, I think Strickland's gonna win. I'm not gonna be boring, but I think the price is fair. After going into tape, I don't think there's value on Costa. But yeah, it might be tricky. Like if the fight go to distance, it's probably going to be closer than what we think. But I think Strickland is going to be the clear winner still. I might be looking into Strickland around 3, 4, 5. I know I said Costa's cardio is not as bad, but Strickland's going to push a pace on him. He's going to throw a lot of volume. And if Costa's tired, Strickland's gonna know he's tired and he's gonna push through it. Like DDP didn't tire out. Cannonier didn't really slow down much. And the fight that he had 5 rounders against like Hermansen, all these Imva, like there's durable guys. So Costa's pretty durable. I'm not saying it's likely that he finish him. More likely outcome is Strickland by decision, but I have a kind of feeling that Strickland round 3, 4, 5 could really well feed families and the next generation, you know. So I'm not sure what I'll do. So, but yeah, I'm probably gonna end up betting the round 3, 4, 5 for Strickland because he's gonna either dominate or look very good in those rounds, in my opinion.
I'm telling you, Dravi, the generational wealth play of the week. Cesar Almeida sub plus 1,800. You heard it here first. Probably not playing it, but
maybe.
But yeah, for this fight, I share a lot of the same sentiment, but I ended up going with I played Costa finish only. I got that at plus 155. I like that quite a bit. I do think Strickland can get the finish late. I think that's entirely a possibility. But what made me comfortable with playing it is exactly what you talked about with Vettori. You know, in that Vettori fight, who won round 5? Costa did. He looked exhausted doing it, but he still came in there and he let it rip. And what you didn't talk about is USADA's gone. I know we still have a testing program, but clearly recently it's been a thing. And Costa jokes about it, but I mean, the dude's been on the secret juice. Now he doesn't even have to hide it that much. I think that's going to be a factor, as ridiculous as it sounds. I feel like we have to consider these things. And even without it, like I think Costa's competitive here. Over 5 rounds, who's going to have much better volume? Strickland. Who's going to win the more exchanges? Strickland. So that's why I didn't want to play the money line, even though I thought maybe there's some value. But I think the more likely guy to get a finish is Costa. So I don't think he should be plus 155 on the finish only. I think that's kind of crazy. Strickland is good defensively. He tries to keep that high guard, but his chin is always still up in the air. That's how Pereira caught him. He walked right in like this, and he still does it all the time. And Costa hits really hard. He's pretty fast. Like you said, those kicks are really quick. I think his hands are good too. So I think he can knock Strickland out, and I kind of have a feeling that he is going to knock Strickland out. So I just went with the finish only. If he loses, he loses. If he gets finished, he gets finished. I would have lost anyways if I played his money line. But I like that little bit of insurance that I have that if we do go the distance, I get my money back. Now, that could bite me in the ass too. There's been more than once now where I played the finish only and the guy won the damn decision. But I have a hard time seeing Costa win a 5-rounder here. If it was 3 rounds, like you said, 100% I'd be on Costa just on the money line. But over 5 rounds, I just took the finish only. I think he can find that finish. If he doesn't, Strickland probably pieces him up for 5, maybe gets a late finish. Hopefully not. And that's all I really got here. We can move on for our main event of the evening. I think you took the dog shot here, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts. We got Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. Islam is 25, 1-0, 32 years old, 5'10" with a 70.5-inch reach. Poirier, 38-0. He's 35, so he's 3 years older, 1 inch shorter, and he's going to be at a 3-inch reach advantage. I'll start us off here. So, I mean, I just think it's really funny that so many people were screaming BSD last time out against Poirier, saying Poirier has horrendous grappling. He's going to get smoked, all this stuff. And then what happens? He comes out there and gets the dub. And now they're running to the window to bet him against a much better fighter, a much better grappler, a much more well-rounded grappler and fighter in Islam. And I mean, I get it because I get that it's at plus 550, but I don't see it. Like if you're betting Dustin, you're betting on that knockout or that guillotine, which I guess I really don't think the guillotine is going to happen. I can see a knockout happening. Islam's been caught before. I think it's really unlikely, but I guess it's possible. That gilly's not that shit. This is going to come back to bite me, but that's just not working. Like he's not guillotining Islam for the love of God. Like these guys are.
Well, sugar, maybe you're gonna make me win my bet, right?
I know I'm jinxing. If you heard it,
scene, bro, it could be in the corner. You get the guillotine, bro.
I knocked on wood as I was talking.
Couch. Imagine how mad Khabib would be if Islam tapped to that guillotine, but he will never tap. He will go out. But imagine how mad you can. I just imagine Khabib in the corner, bro. You will be pissed.
Bro, he'd lose it. But I don't think so, man. There's guys with really good guillotine defense, and I think Islam is one of those guys. Like there's a defense to it, and Poirier's never gotten one. So is he going to get it the first time against Islam? I highly doubt it. I think if Poirier wins, it's the hands because he is an amazing boxer. I got him live against BSD. I didn't play him pre-flop, but I played him live at plus 300, and that felt awesome. But he had such a big striking edge there, and Benoit Saint Denis, like he's so bad defensively. He's horrible defensively. Like a lot of us like notice that, and Islam's not that. Islam's good defensively. Islam is much better now than he was when he got caught in that Martins fight. His striking has come a long way. He's not just a grappler. I think he's a better striker than Khabib ever was. I think his wrestling is elite. I think Dustin, for the same reason people wanted to fade him with Benoit Saint Denis, that's the reason I'm fading him with Islam. I think there's a huge grappling disparity. I think if Islam goes for the takedowns, which I do think he will do, I think it's going to be easy work. Whether it's a sub or a knockout, I don't care because I just said screw it. I played Islam minus 450 to win 1 unit, just played it straight. And I have him in a parlay with Adrian Yanez from last week. So that moved on to this week for a 2-unit stake. So I got 6.5 units on him. That's my max bet. And he's a max bet for me. And then I also parlayed the fight doesn't go with Almeida. And that should cover me if Poirier does get that guillotine or that knockout. Then at least I'll win something. Now, Poirier decision, that would be tragic. But I personally, knock on wood, don't see that happening. We'll see. But what's your read on Poirier? Why'd you play him?
Yeah, so as you know, BSD is my guy, right? But I didn't play him against Poirier, just to be clear. I played the over 1.5, and I won by 2 fucking seconds, bro. Like, he got dropped, and I'm like, bro, he's done. Give me 1 more or 2 more seconds, and then I got it. But yeah, I know people were playing BSD heavy here. I understand, but BSD had some problem there. He gassed out because he did look very good in round 1. Give him credit where it's due. And we know Poirier at this point, like he has trouble against these type of matchup. His takedown defense is not very good. His get-up game is not good. His submission defense is a weakness. Let's not act like he's a white belt. You know what he's doing on the mat, but he's just struggle against these people. So obviously, I understand why Islam's the big favorite. But yeah, you can't deny the fact that Poirier is the better striker and hit harder. It's just a fact. But I do like Islam striking. I don't know if you remember college, but I play Islam pretty big against Volk, and I call him to knock him out. I didn't play the KO prop though. Fuck me, but I call him to knock out Volkanovski because I love his head kicks, his knees, and his striking in general is pretty good. But the only time he got caught was against the southpaw, and he got knocked out. And he's facing another southpaw here. We know Poirier is he's a guy that against anybody couch at +4, +500. Like, I don't care who's fighting. I want to have my money on this dude. So that's the first thing. And now how many times we see title fight at the highest level like that to see a +500 on a name like that. It's not like he's a bum and he's not in rank, no rank. It's not like Bobby Green's getting the fight against Makhachev or something, Not to say he's a bum, but you know what I mean. So I just feel like overall, it's more of a value play for me there. Obviously, I think Islam's going to win, but everybody's parlaying Islam. Everybody's playing Islam by submission. And I just have a feeling that something weird is going to happen. Like, Islam sub is like -125 now, and he was -750 at some point. And I just don't agree with that. I'll make him around 70 to 75% couch. So obviously, if that's the case, and they put him at 85%, I'm kind of willing to play Poirier at these odds. And I did a mistake, I think 3 weeks ago. I called a CDF on the pod. I thought that he was the side, and everybody were playing Rebecca, calling him easy money. And I didn't play CDF at +300. And I fucking regret it because I knew the line was wide. And I knew that because everybody was playing the other side, it's kind of hard to pull the trigger on the big underdog sometimes because it's easy to be influenced by other people. I tried the best to not do that. But Yeah, I mean Poirier when he fought Khabib, I know he was in his prime, but he was plus 360, I think. And to your point, I think Makhachev's a way better striker than Khabib, but I think Khabib has a way better chin. I think his chin's fucking elite. And the difference is Khabib doesn't really want to strike. You will sell out on the takedowns. Makhachev, on the other hand, he loves to show out his striking a little bit, you know? He's not gonna go out there and shoot a takedown after 10 seconds. He's not scared of Poirier's stand up. He's gonna strike with him. I'm pretty confident in that. So with that being said, if they strike for let's say 5-6 minutes in the fight, I like my chances on Poirier to get a knockout. And I also don't think Islam's going to finish him in the first round. I think he's going to need to wear on him, and it's going to come in round 2, 3, 4. So if you play Islam, I think you can play round 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4. But what I did, couch, is I cover myself a little bit. I played the over 1.5 at minus 160. So my prediction is Islam to finish Poirier over 1.5. Okay, so if that happens, I'm gonna profit a little bit, and I play one unit on Poirier at plus 457 and plus 500. So for like an average of plus 480. At these kind of price, if he die, he die. You know, how wrong can I be? But I just feel like it's disrespectful for him. He has never been that big of an underdog, and also, bro, he has nothing to lose. It's now or never. So, and another point, I don't think I've heard people talk about this, but I think it's interesting. Poirier talked about it in an interview. He knows what to expect on the ground now with a guy like Makhachev. After, like, he got mauled against Khabib, but he talked about like the way they position on the ground and their strength. You know, he knows what he's gonna get now. I feel like he have a better idea of the type of ground game that Islam has. That before he fought Khabib, he didn't really know what he was like going into. So yeah,
Well, what's he gonna do with that information? You know, like, is that gonna suddenly mean he can defend Islam's takedowns just because he felt it before?
I know I don't think he's gonna defend takedowns differently. I think Islam can get I think he can get him down, obviously. But I think with the way that he tried to get up or things like that, it can make a difference. He can prepare a little bit different in camp. Like Khabib was positioning different way and was putting his weight in some spot that Dustin couldn't. He didn't really know how to react about it. So he knows what he's getting himself into. Is that going to make a difference? Maybe not, but he knows now. You know, so to me that's a difference. And Khabib needed four rounds to finish him. So, like I said, I don't think Islam finish him in one. I think it's going to happen later in the fight. I think he's going to strike with him. And Dustin Poirier in the stand up at plus 500 against anybody on earth, give me that. Islam's gigantic grappling edge. You know, he's very, very good. The last time I tried to fade him, I played Oliveira by knockout, pretty small, like a quarter unit, at plus 550. And now we have Poirier for the same price at the money line. So it's like a no-brainer for me, Couch. Islam should win, but I don't think it should be that wide of a favorite. I think it should be around minus 300, maybe minus 350, something around that. I think he should get a submission. But yeah, everybody's on it, and I want to play. I want to bet against the public, and I want to go on DP. Everybody think he has no chance. He has nothing to lose, and that's his last chance to win the belt. Imagine winning the belt, knocking Islam out, being the champion. Yeah, I'm a fan too of him, so maybe I'm getting influenced a little bit, but I've never like at these type of odds, bro. I'm like, how wrong can I be? You know. So sometimes I bet a big underdog at plus 250, plus 300, and I'm like, if you die, you die. You know, I think he has some chances. So he has a meme guillotine upside. He has obviously KO upside. And let's say the fight go the distance. They score damage over everything now. Makhachev is not like doing a shit ton of ground and pound. That's not really his style. It's decent ground and pound. But let's say it goes to a decision and the fight play out, let's say 70% in the grappling and 30% in the stand-up. I don't think he's not going to finish him. I know you will fucking hate that, Couch, but I think the fight's going to end inside the distance. But let's just say it doesn't. I think we can make an argument that Poirier land the bigger shot, do a little bit more damage, get back up maybe, or just, you know, maybe it could end up being like a close, weird decision at the end of the day. But yeah, obviously it should be Islam sub or Poirier KO. But sometimes when they feel too obvious, that's where some weird things happen. Now, plus 500, I hope some of them does. Let's hope for a guillotine. You will do. Imagine you get to guillotine, bro. Imagine the meme after that. It's gonna be crazy. But yeah, obviously it's not likely. Should be a knockout if he wins. Don't get me wrong. But a plus 500 against anybody, give me Dustin Poirier.
Honestly, you mentioned it. I feel like Dustin's the public side this week. I feel like I know the line's been moving towards Islam, but on Twitter, everything I'm seeing is Dustin. And I haven't even seen a single person play the Islam sub, even though everyone keeps saying, oh, everyone's playing it. Everyone's playing it. I haven't seen anyone play it. I know the line's moving down on that too. So not every bettor is on MMA Twitter, but I feel like most of the public's on Poirier. And I also got, dude, I was about to play CDF, and there's very few people that I listen to. And even them, I don't always listen to. But I hit one of them up and we were talking. And he was like, dude, he's washed. And I was like, maybe you're right. Rebecca round 2-3 makes more sense. And instead of playing CDF, I played Rebecca round 2-3 and felt like an idiot.
Yeah, bro. I don't know if Dogfather is still in the chat, but he influenced me on that one because
me too.
Bro, he come on our podcast and he told me that he told me that the line could be wider for Rebecca and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, bro. At the end of the day, you're probably right. He's probably gonna win. And I just said, fuck that. I'm just gonna pass. And you know what? I ended up playing the under 2.5 and losing it because of a late finish in round 3. So not only I pass on my read that I wanted to bet, I lose money on the fight. So now these days, if I have a kind of feeling or anything again like a big underdog like that, and I see some path to victories, like fuck what other people say, I'm just gonna bet it. Like it's a unit, but a unit to win 4.8. Yeah. So
yeah, I get it. But all right, I think that's enough about Dustin's guillotines. That clip of him where his coach is like, "Can you stop?" and he's like, "I can get it."
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That was crazy. But all right, that's enough, guys. That is UFC 302. Thank you all for tuning in. We got 80 live viewers right now. Thank you all for watching episode 99 of the podcast. We're about to hit 100 next week. Currently working on getting some guys for that show. Should be a good one. But Dravi, thank you for coming on, brother. If you got anything to plug, anything where the people can find you, go right ahead, and then we'll hop on out.
Yeah, as always, bro. Thanks for having me. Always cool to discuss fight with you. I hope we both end up in profit. So let's say Poirier finish. You win your ITD,
and then I need to win every other bet to make up.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna be a bit sketchy. It's gonna be a bit sketchy then. Never mind. But yeah, guys, you can follow Beeline Broadcast on YouTube and BTL Broadcast on Twitter. That's where me and my guys do the podcast every week. It's mostly Wednesday. We already did upload the episode. So yeah, that's about it. You guys already know my Twitter, everything. You can follow my bets on my Dub Club. That's where I post like every big breakdowns and that come out with my bets. We get CLV on almost every bet. And yeah, I mean, I'm up 50 units this year so far, and almost almost in June now. Yeah, so that's amazing results, and I want to go again at having a 100 unit year. So you guys can ride with me. You can follow everything. If you want like a promo code for your first month, hit me up on Twitter and I got you. So yeah, let's get this money, Couch. I'm excited for this pay-per-view. After a week off, it's always a little bit better to have a UFC card.
Yeah, it always hits different. But for me, guys, on Thursday, we're doing the pay-per-view panel. As always, me and my guy Tyler, 138 MMA. It'll be on my channel this week. We're joined by Lucrative MMA and my guy Wiz Does. So that should be a good time. 2 dope dudes. Make sure you check that out. I might have an interview coming tomorrow. I'll announce it once it's for sure. Still figuring that out. I want to talk to some of these Dana White's Contender Series guys before the season starts. And what else did I want to say? Oh, yeah. And then pull up to the Discord. My Discord's free. I post my notes, my breakdowns, my bets, and we do all our MMA discussions in there. We have channels for every possible regional scene because we like to do those. So make sure to check out the Discord. The link will be in the description of this video, and it's also in my link tree in my YouTube bio and my Twitter bio. But all right, guys, that's it. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace out, and good luck this weekend.